Hi, welcome back to Mastering Anesthesia. Thank you for clicking on this video. You're probably here to learn about pacemaker action potential. Ever wonder what keeps your heart ticking, even when you're not doing anything? Let's dive into the weird, wonderful world of pacemaker action potential. We shall look into what it is, what is funny current, the different phases, and the effects of sympathetic and parasympathetic stimulation. So, let's go. So, what is pacemaker potential? It is the spontaneous decay of a pacemaker cell from a membrane potential of around minus 60 millivolt in the SA node to a threshold of minus 40 millivolt, thereby initiating action potential when it reaches this threshold. So the rate of decay to the threshold will determine the heart rate. It's called automaticity. Funny thing though, long ago, people think of it as funny currents because as compared to other cells where they are activated by depolarization, but in this case, it is activated by hyperpolarization in a state where the cell membranes are more negative. And also, it is because of the spontaneous decay that happens from the imbalance of sodium going in more than the potassium leaving out of the cell. Let's start by familiarizing ourselves with the action potential graph of pacemaker cells. So the x-axis is the membrane potential in millivolt, the y-axis is time in milliseconds. You can start the x-axis with negative 80, minus 60, minus 40, all the way to positive 20. And on the y-axis, extend it from 0 to 500 milliseconds. Now for the different phases, it has only 3 different phases. Phase 4, pacemaker potential, 0, upstroke, and 3, repolarization phase. This is in contrast with the normal cardiac action potential. We have phase 4, phase 0, 1, 2, and 3. So remember, phase 4 is the pacemaker potential, phase 0 is the rapid upstroke, phase 3 is repolarization, and it goes back to phase 4. Looking on the different phases in greater detail, phase 4 pacemaker potential is contributed by HCN, which is the hyperpolarization activated cyclic nucleotide. It is permeable to both sodium and potassium, activated at a more negative potential, which is what the funny current actually is from. So the sodium influx is greater than potassium influx. Sodium goes in the cell contributing to the positivity is more than the positive going out. So the depolarization is maintained at a very slow phase from an initial of minus 60. You can see on the graph the yellow colored arrow shows the hyperpolarization activated cyclic nucleotide activating at minus 60. What happens then when the membrane depolarizes to about minus 50? Another channel open, which is the T-type or transient calcium channels open, causing calcium to move into the cell, further enhancing membrane depolarization, making it more positive. And there you can see the yellow colored arrow shows where the T-type calcium channels open at minus 50 millivolts. Therefore, the combination of HCN channel with T-type calcium channels will cause spontaneous decay of the membrane potential up to the threshold potential of minus 40, at which at this point action potential will automatically generate at a all or none principle. Next, phase 0 or upstroke. This happens when depolarization happens due to opening of L-type calcium channels, which stands for long-lasting. So the inward movement, the continuous inward movement of calcium channels into the cell causes the sinoatrial node to reach its peak potential of about 20 millivolts. You can see the L-type calcium channels open at a threshold of minus 40. Next, phase 3, repolarization, where the cell membrane becoming more negative. It is due to the HCN and calcium channels close and the voltage-gated potassium channels open, causing potassium to leak out, causes the positive to move out of the cell, causing the cell to be more negative, hence repolarization. As you can see by the yellow line, TCN and calcium close at the top of the curve, and potassium channels open to allow potassium to move out of the cell. Now let's talk about latent pacemakers. They are part of the heart's conduction system that can generate its own action potential, which means they have the spontaneous phase 4 depolarization. The different pacemaker cells that can be found in the heart are the SA node, the AV node, the bundle of His, and the Purkinje of fibers. All have different firing rates, about 100 to 110 for SA node, 40 to 16 AV node, 40 in bundle of His, and 15 to 13 Purkinje fibers. They all don't fire all at the same time, because the one with the highest firing rate will eventually suppress the other latent pacemaker. So the function of the other latent pacemaker is to take over the dominant pacemaker in case it fails. This can be found in myocardial ischemia, where the SA node will be affected. Therefore, AV node with the next highest firing rate will take over. Let's see the effects of sympathetic and parasympathetic nerve stimulation on the pacemaker action potential graph. In sympathetic stimulation, increased permeability of calcium is observed. Therefore, the slope will be steeper. So the membrane potential reaches the threshold earlier, causing upstroke and repolarization earlier, hence increasing heart rate. You can see on the yellow line where it is steeper, reaching the threshold potential earlier, and the action potential starts and resolves earlier, causing increase in heart rate. Meanwhile, in parasympathetic nerve stimulation, there will be increased in potassium permeability. Therefore, the cell is prone for hyperpolarization, causing the cell to reach its threshold potential a bit slower, because the slope will be less steep. Graphically, we can see that the slope is less steep, reaching the threshold potential later, causing action potential and the resolution of the upstroke and repolarization to occur later, hence reduction in heart rate. And thank you so much for watching my videos. If you find my videos helpful, please don't forget to like this video. If you have suggestions on what to cover next, please comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. See you in my next video.